Hyperbolas are always tested separately, like I said yesterday. So for the first one here, write down the equations of the asymptotes of f. Remember that the asymptotes are always the two numbers that you can see there. So firstly, the number in the denominator, that is your x asymptote, and it always has a different sign. So if you have x minus 3 in your denominator, the asymptote is x equals 3, right? It's always the other sign. And then the y asymptote is the number that is the constant term in the equation. That one has the same sign than what you have in the equation. 2 marks, 1, 2. Right, 5.2. And guys, also this is out of 2 marks, meaning it should take you 2 minutes, but it's not going to take you 2 minutes if you know how to get them, right? Then you just write down quickly, x equals 3, y equals 2. It will maybe take you 30 seconds. Okay, then you buy some time for questions that come up next. Okay, the domain of f, we know that the domain is all x values. So for a hyperbola, it's always x element of real numbers, but x cannot be equal to 3. So whatever that asymptote value is, you just exclude that specific value from the domain. All right, 1 mark for that. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So if you want to write it like this, you would start with negative infinity and then go to 3, and then from 3 again to positive infinity, like that. Okay, that's also fine, yes. All right, 5.3, determine the coordinates of the x-intercept. We all know that for an x-intercept, you have to make y equal to 0. So you are going to take your equation that you have, and this you're going to make equal to 0. So you're going to have 0 equal to, let me just move that down, negative 1 over x minus 3 plus 2. And guys, that is actually what you get the first mark for. So even if you mess up your calculations, you actually get a mark for making y equal to 0, right? Which hopefully you know, we do that for all graphs that we have. Okay, next up, you're going to move that 2 over, so it's going to become negative 2. So you have negative 2 equals negative 1 over x minus 3. Then you have to multiply by that x minus 3, so you're going to have negative 2 bracket x minus 3 equal to negative 1. Now from here, you could either multiply the negative 2 into the bracket, which I think that's probably what you guys did. Am I thinking the right thing here? All right, so negative 2x plus 6 is equal to negative 1. Then you would move that 6 over, so you're going to have negative 2x equal to negative 7. So x is then 7 over 2. All right, but guys, they asked for the coordinates of the x-intercept. So you can't leave your answer like that. You have to now put that in coordinate form. So you have to say, therefore, 7 over 2 and 0. And that is the second mark. So in this question, you actually have to work for those marks, right? The first 2 questions, it was very quick. You just write something down, you get marks. Here you make y equal to 0 for the first mark, and then you get a mark for your answer there. For the next question, 5.4, they were asking for the coordinates of the y-intercept of f. So for the y-intercept, you have to make x equal to 0. So you're going to say y is equal to negative 1 over 0 minus 3 plus 2. So this is a third plus 2. So 2 and a third. Don't even still waste time by typing that into the calculator, guys. You have negative 1 over 0 minus 3, which is negative 3. So negative 1 over negative 3 is just a third. And when you add 2 to it, it's 2 and a third. Again, we have to write this in coordinate form. They were asking for the coordinates. So there we're going to write 0 and 2 and a third. Now, guys, for the next question, we actually have to draw this graph, which is worth 3 marks, which is quite a lot of work if you look at what you are drawing, right, for a hyperbola for just 3 marks. But you actually have already calculated everything that you need in order to draw the graph. So all you have to do is you need to put in your asymptotes, you need to plot your x-intercept, plot your y-intercept, and then draw the graph from there. So I'm just going to do it quickly. It helps. Hello, Tinashe. I was just going to say, you are always here and you're not here today. Are you okay? Thank you. All right, there we go. I forgot to put in those marks. So it's 1 mark for making x equal to 0 and then 1 mark for the answer. Okay, let me just quickly put this in. What I was going to say is it helps when you are actually drawing the graph to know what 7 over 2 is. It's 3.5, hey? So we're going to have 3.5 as our x-intercept and 2 1/3 as our y-intercept. That helps us when we're actually plotting. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to kind of do that. What was our y1 again? Y equals 2. Now, guys, in paper 1, you don't get an answer book, okay? So you have to actually draw your axes on your own. Sorry. Yes. Yes, you do get paper. You get your normal writing booklet, yes, but you don't get like an answer booklet like in paper 2 where there's like a space for each answer.
Oh man, for paper 2, why didn't they allow to give us more paper?
They give you a whole other book if you ask. There is extra space in the book.
No, but like, I need to go next to the question.
There's space next to the block. I'll show you what the booklet looks like. Okay, let me just quickly draw this. So we have y equals 2, and you would draw this in a dotted line, right? I just can't do a dotted line on here. I have to like erase a little bit, so I'll do that now. So that is your one asymptote, and then your other asymptote, x equals 3. Again, dotted line. Hello. Okay, well, I'm happy that you're here. All right, so you would make these dotted lines, right? I'll do that just now. And then you are going to plot your points that we have. So we have as our x-intercept 3.5. So that is 3. So 3.5, that's going to be the x-intercept. And for our y-intercept, we have 2 1/3. So 2 is over here. So 2 1/3 is kind of there. Doesn't have to be perfectly to scale, don't worry about that. And now all you need to do is you need to draw your graph. Sorry, I'm not really good at, let's just do that there. Remember that for the shape mark here, even here, it's a bit difficult to do this on the iPad, but it's not meant to like bend away from the asymptote, right? It should go towards the asymptote, so just make sure that you do that. And guys, you have to label your coordinates. I know that we've calculated them above, but for the mark on the actual graph, you also have to label it next to that point. And for this one, same thing. Sorry, I'm trying to get it so that it doesn't like, do you see what this thing is doing? It's going like a little bit up. Okay, so just make sure that yours does not do that when you're drawing it by hand. And guys, if it's difficult to draw the graph when the point is so close to the asymptote, make the point further away from the asymptote, right? As long as you label it correctly, it's fine. No one's going to check, oh, it's not exactly at 2 1/3, so you're going to lose a mark. That's not going to happen. Okay, you can even make it up here, for example, and then it will be easier to draw the graph, but then you must just label it with a point. Okay, that's also fine. So this is 0 and 2 1/3. So now in terms of marks for this one, you will get 1 mark for your asymptotes, right? So for x equals 3 and y equals 2 for drawing both of them. You will get a mark for your y-intercept and a mark for your x-intercept. This was only out of 3. If your shape is wrong though, they're going to take one of those marks away. Okay, so if you have those 2 points and you have your asymptotes, but you've drawn like a graph, maybe like a straight line or something, or your shape is completely off, like it's folding in or whatever, then they do like negative marking. They take a mark off.